Hey y'all, how y'all doing? I'm so excited to be back today. We're in the living room again, and we're back in our usual setting, and so much stuff. So many things have been going on, and kind of not really a whole lot of stuff that's been going on at the same time. You know how it's just those things. But anyway, if this is your first time coming to my channel, my name is Whitney. I am a singer, songwriter, artist, actress, just a servant of God, and I love to help people, motivate people, and if I can encourage you, that is the mission. So glad you stopped by, give me a chance. If you are returning, hey friend. I know sometimes I forget to do my intros and I laugh at myself after the fact, but sometimes I just, rattle right on into the conversation. But really excited about this topic, and it's actually, I think I'm going to make it a series that we're going to talk about because it's something that everyone has experienced in one way or another, and that is fear. Some people call it the false evidence appearing real, meaning that it's just something that isn't physically something that can actually hold you back, but it feels like it is. But fear is like a crazy thing. So, I think I'm going to make this a series, but the first one, because I have a single coming out and all these different things. There's so many things that are good things that are happening in my life, thankfully. And one of the fears that I've always dealt with is like being healed through these things, and that is acceptance. So I think that's something that a lot of young people actually go through is the fear that you'll be rejected or you won't be accepted for who you are. Or you won't be accepted even in your family. You won't be accepted for your interests or who you love, or whatever it is. Just that feeling that you won't be accepted, and it is one of the scariest things. I've talked about a lot about my journey to self-love and finding out how much God loves me and all these different things, but I don't think I've ever really talked about learning to love me even though I'm in a familiar place. Learning to just accept me and know that even if others don't accept me, that I'm still accepted by God and that I'm still valuable and that, I'm still loved, right? So I remember kind of being like an outcast type kid, not because of the people honestly, but more so because I was just always an old soul. So my friends are like young and spry, they're going out, they're doing this and that, they're going to the movies with everybody together, sleepovers, all that type of stuff. I wasn't that kid. Like I did some stuff like that, but I was more like a homebody type person, and honestly it was partially because like of my home situation, but also because I really couldn't relate to people in my generation, like in my age group, and I had experienced even in middle school I experienced like not feeling like a part, even though everyone I was around was people who I had, grown up with or I was related to or anything, like, not feeling like you belong. And it wasn't even because of outside circumstances or anything like that. It was literally something in me that was telling myself, like, you don't fit here. Like, you don't fit in. So recoil, like you don't fit into this group, or you don't fit into this circumstance, so like just be quiet, run the background. And honestly, I've seen that manifest in my adulthood sometimes, and then I have to remind myself that if God can think of me in such high regard when I am a sinner, when I am like nowhere near perfect, when I, make mistakes all the time, when I don't listen or whatever, if God can hold me in such high regard, who am I to, downplay myself? Who am I to sit here and wallow in, or what if other people don't accept who I am? And the verse that literally came to my mind when I was preparing for this was in Psalms, I think it's Psalms 8, and it says, who am I that you are mindful of me, or the son of man that you would care for me? And you have made us a little lower than the angels. For me, I know I'm a church girl, and I know, I'm a Jesus girl, whatever, whatever the saying is. But it's like, God in all his infinite wisdom, who created earth, who, pulled the planets into perspective, okay? Who can separate seas, like literally one sea and another sea can touch and they're not mixing. Like, he made me, this wretched person, this sinful person, who does wrong or whatever. He made me a little lower than the angels. That for me is like, wow. And of course it doesn't come overnight. Like, it's not something that you're like, you know what, got it done. I know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, all these different things, and I've heard it and stuff like that, but it's just like in these moments where you like reflect and understand and try to like really crush the fears that you've had and like try to evaluate and move forward in your life, grow forward, as my godmom will say. As you try to grow forward, is when those things really run back to you, and when God brings them back to your remembrance. Like, I made you a little lower than the angels, and it's powerful for me. So even in those moments where I don't feel like I'm accepting myself for who I am, or appreciating who I am, or when I feel like I'm not being accepted for who I am by other people, if I'm being maybe ridiculed for who I am, or what I choose to do or not to do, or whatever it is, I have to remind myself that my Father values me more than anybody. Like, he created all these people. So his value for me matters way more than anybody who may reject me. So there's that. But just facing our fears, I think this series is going to be so powerful, because the word says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And honestly, this video is not even a lesson. It is just a testimony, because I have been very fearful in my life in different ways. And actually in the film that I was just in called You Hurt Me But I'm Healed, it's on YouTube, by the way, check it out, it's amazing. In that film, all the women in that film touched on different things that they've gone through, and a lot of, most every story had to do with some type of fear of being rejected, fear of not being enough, fear of what people might say if they knew what was going on in their lives, like just fear across the board. And it's such a powerful thing I talked about in the movie, like just being afraid to be myself. And that's crazy, because it's kind of like you're naturally yourself, so just be yourself. But it was definitely a fear. So not a lesson today, it's more just a testimony, and I hope that it will encourage you to have honest conversations with yourself, with God, with someone you trust, to sit down and evaluate the things that may be holding you back in your life. I know I can only talk about my situation, but I'm refusing, I actually wrote a poem, I'm refusing to let fear stand in the way of what God has for me, even though I'm not perfect. I refuse. I'm not going to allow my own things that are, plaguing me, to hold me back from what God has for me. I'm not going to do that. With all I have in my being, it is my mission to encourage people, and to make sure that they see, like, there are people who are or have gone through what they're going through or may go through, but there is a way of escape always. There is a God who cares for you. No matter if you're in the situation, going in, coming out, whatever it is, there's a God that cares for you so infinitely that it supersedes everything that you could possibly go through. So just wanted to encourage you today. As I always say, remember to love God because He is the source of real love. Remember to love yourself and appreciate who God created you to be. And while you're getting all of that love, remember to love on others because that is the way that your world continues to go around. And I love you so very much. Have a great day. Bye.